The footage is showing myself driving the MX-5 at Alton Park, coming into one of the chicanes and getting taken out by a very late dive bomber. This is an example of a report that I sent into iRacing. Today we're tackling a topic that often stirs up debate in the iRacing community, reporting other drivers. When it comes to unsportsmanlike behaviour on the track, the iRacing sporting code is clear: incidents should be reported. But what does reporting accomplish? Why should you do it? And are there times when you shouldn't? What would happen if no one reported bad behaviour at all? And finally, is there a risk of becoming known as a serial reporter? We're going to dive into all these questions to help you navigate the right approach to reporting on iRacing. Let's start with the basics. Why report in the first place? Well, I'm sure we've all experienced now being punted off, being dive bombed, being recklessly driven into because some other iRacer has seen red and you took the brunt of their frustration. So that's one of the reasons we've all felt that disappointment and had to go and send that report to iRacing. Reporting misconduct or rule breaking isn't just encouraged, it's part of what keeps iRacing running smoothly. Think of it this way: reporting isn't about being petty or trying to get back at another driver. It's about preserving a level playing field. Imagine if no one reported anything. Drivers who repeatedly wreck others or break rules could keep racing without any consequence. Over time, this could lead to a chaotic experience where it feels like anything goes, and that's what Wreckfest's for. Reporting helps keep things accountable and ensures that every driver is treated fairly, and it deters behaviour that can spoil the race for others. Now, that doesn't mean you should report every little incident. The sporting code encourages drivers to report only serious incidents or repeated violations. So as you're racing, keep in mind that it's not just about one bad move, but rather the bigger picture of upholding the standard of racing. Let's get into the specifics. So why should you report another driver? iRacing gives you the guidelines, but some judgment calls come down to you, the driver. So here are some tips to help you decide. First, consider the severity of the incident. Was it small? A small accident, a bump, or a move that put you and others in danger? Sometimes new drivers or even experienced drivers make mistakes. We're all human. Things like missed braking points, minor contact, or a slight veer. It is clearly unintentional and not a pattern of behaviour. It might be best just to let that go and accept the apology. On the other hand, if you're dealing with someone who's repeatedly aggressive, blocking you, dive bombing turns, or failing to give room consistently, that's behaviour worth reporting. iRacing takes these reports seriously because these indicate a disregard for the rules and safety of others and the enjoyment of other iRacers as well. It's also important to avoid reporting every little thing. Being too quick to hit the report button can impact your reputation. Habitual reporting, especially on minor incidents, might lead to others to view you as too aggressive or a serial reporter. Over time, this can create tension between you and other drivers in your races, especially if they feel like they can't make a single move without you reporting them. Now let's consider the opposite question: what happens if no one reports at all? Well, it could lead to what we might call track anarchy. Without reporting, there's no feedback loop for iRacing to address poor behaviour. A driver who wrecks others on purpose or repeatedly cuts corners with no consequence may start to feel untouchable, and other drivers who witness this could feel discouraged from reporting, leading to more issues. If everyone turns a blind eye, the quality of racing would suffer, making iRacing a far less enjoyable and fair platform. Reporting isn't just about dealing with your own bad race. It's about preventing repeat offences that could spoil things for everyone. When used appropriately, reporting helps create a culture where drivers respect the rules and each other, which benefits everyone in the long run. Now let's talk about something not often discussed, the risk of being known as a serial reporter. You might be wondering if it's possible to report too much, and the answer is, of course, it's a yes. iRacing staff review each report on its merits, but if you're reporting every minor incident, it could start to affect how others view you as an individual. Constantly filing reports, especially on small infractions, could give you a reputation as someone overly critical or hard to race with. This can impact how other drivers perceive you and in some cases even how they interact with you on the track. Being labelled as a serial reporter could make other drivers defensive or anxious around you, especially if they worry any small mistake could lead to a report. So it's a good to balance things. Use reports for serious issues and keep in mind that racing involves some level of contact and human mistakes. Remember, reporting isn't meant to uphold fair play. Is meant to uphold fair play, not to settle personal scores or send a message. So, in summary, reporting is an essential part of iRacing's experience, and the sporting code depends on drivers like us to report serious misconduct. Reporting should be used thoughtfully and responsibly. Think of it as a part of contributing to the community, ensuring that the future races remain competitive, fair, and enjoyable for everyone involved. Before you hit that report button, consider the impact and intention behind it. Is it about keeping racing fair, or is it frustration? Use reporting to help keep iRacing the amazing platform we all love. Well, that's our first emotive subject. So I think I've just got to my 4th year on iRacing. I think I've probably sent in a dozen reports, between a dozen and 20, I would have thought. And if you've been watching the YouTube version of the podcast, you'll see some of the footage that I reported other drivers on, just to give examples through this topic. Now, as I've talked us through, we iRacers have a duty of care, being part of the iRacing community, to report bad driving. And as that article has read, we've got to understand what is sitting on the fence, or it's definitely reportable, or I should let that one go. Now, as it also said, at the time of the accident or incident, we're all seeing a bit of orangey red colour. We're frustrated, we're fed up, and if you listen to last week's podcast, we have a bit of an outburst as well. But iRacing itself allows you to calm down. It won't let you report straight away. That is to allow you, the driver, to then take stock, calm yourself down, reflect, look back at the replay, and consider again, is it really worth raising that report? Now, I've never received a report personally. I don't know if other people have ever reported me, but I'm very proud not to receive a report for my personal poor driving. I think I'm quite proud of that established milestone to date, and I want to keep that going. So I always apologise if I have done something wrong, and say it real time, or ask the other driver to stay back so we can both look at the replay. There's lots of times where you think somebody's done something and they haven't due to netcode and things like that. So we have got a duty of care to report, as we've just discussed. Please report your fellow iRacers, but only when it's a serious breach. Welcome back to the Lone Road iRacers podcast. Now we're going to look at a combo that's getting a lot of attention on the iRacing circuit, the FIA F4 at Mount Panorama, better known to many of us as Bathurst. This is a thrilling yet challenging combo that mixes the precision of the FIA F4 and the intensity and unforgiving nature of Bathurst. We're going to dive into what makes this combination so popular and why so many racers are eager to take it on despite its brutal reputation. We're also going to talk about the specific challenges that this pairing brings, along with some strategies to help you stay on the track, literally, and maximise your performance. So if you're wondering what all the hype is about, or if you're planning to tackle Bathurst for the first time in the F4 car, we've got it all covered here, folks. So here we go. First, we're going to look at what makes this combo so special. On the surface, it might seem an unusual pairing, a lower power car like the FA4 with a high class, high stakes track like Bathurst, but that's exactly what makes it work so well. Mount Panorama is one of the world's most iconic racetracks, with a layout that combines high-speed straights, dramatic elevation changes, and narrow, unforgiving mountain sections. It's known for being challenging even for professional drivers, and for iRacers it's no different. Bathurst requires total focus. It's not a place to make casual mistakes because every turn can make or break your lap. The FIA F4 car brings a lot of value to this combination because it's nimble, predictable and unforgiving compared to some higher power open wheelers. It may not have the horsepower of an F1 car, but it has excellent handling and braking, making it perfect for a technical track like Bathurst. The F4's responsiveness is ideal for the precise control needed on this challenging track. That meant the focus shifts more to driver skill rather than just sheer power. Pairing the FIA F4 with Bathurst puts the emphasis squarely on skill, precision and strategy rather than top speed or horsepower. This combo requires you to master the line, control your braking and stay alert at every turn. It's a challenge that doesn't rely on complex car setups or raw power, but rather on pure driver ability, what makes it a unique and rewarding challenge. All of these elements come together to make the FIA F4 and Bathurst pairing a raw, driver-focused experience, one that showcases iRacing at its best. Now let's get into the meat of it. What exactly are the challenges that Bathurst brings to the FIA F4 races? Bathurst is a track that doesn't let you relax, not even for a moment, and I'm sure we'd all agree. Every section has its own unique set of difficulties, and if you're not ready, they're going to catch you off guard. Conrod Straight is Bathurst's longest stretch, and it lets you open up the F4's top end, reaching speeds that make it feel like you're flying. But there's a catch. At the end of the straight lies the chase, a high-speed chicane that demands absolute precision. Misjudge your braking point and you'll find yourself off track or spinning out. This part of the track is where you can really gain or lose time, so it's critical to get it right. Conrad Straight is exhilarating, but it punishes mistakes heavily. Then we've got the mountain section. Mount Panorama's mountain section, as we know, is narrow with walls that practically close in around you. This is where the F4's agility really matters, but it also means you have to have high concentration and be accurate. There's no runoff area, the only way forward is through, and there's zero margin for error. A slight miscalculation could mean ending up hitting the wall, and either your lap time comes down or you're off to the pits. This section tests not just your skills but your nerve, because to keep up a competitive pace here you have to trust yourself and the car. Bathurst is famous for its dramatic elevation changes, which add another layer of complexity. As you move through the steep inclines and descents, you encounter a series of blind corners. You're essentially driving into the unknown at high speeds, and you need to know the track like the back of your hand to time each turn and braking point perfectly. Mastering these blind corners requires not only track knowledge but also the confidence to commit to your line even when you can't see what's ahead. Bathurst is known for having few safe overtaking spots, especially in the mountain section where there's enough room for only one car, let alone two. The straights, Conrod and the mountain straight, offer the best chances for overtaking, but they require careful timing. You need to set yourself up several corners in advance to make sure you're positioned for a clean, safe pass. In a car like the F4, which relies heavily on corner exit speed rather than raw power, picking the right moment is everything. Bathurst challenges you to consistently gauge whether you should push or hold back. In some parts, aggression can reward you with faster lap times, but in others, it's a sure way to end up off track or in the pits. Knowing when to dial it back and when to push is crucial here. This balance of aggression and caution is something every driver has to fine tune, and Bathurst pushes you to do that better than every other track on iRacing. Let's talk about some strategies that can help you handle this combination more effectively. If you're tackling Bathurst in the FIA F4, these tips can help you stay on track and make the most out of this challenging experience. Number 1, learn the track corner by corner. Familiarity with Bathurst is key. Spend time learning each section individually before you try to piece them together in a single lap. Bathurst has a unique flow, and once you understand how each part connects to the next, you'll have a huge advantage. It's a track that rewards knowledge and patience, so spend time as you can getting to know each corner. Number 2, perfect your braking technique. Bathurst is a track that tests your braking skills at nearly every corner. Set up your braking points carefully and don't be afraid to adjust as you feel for the track. Knowing when and how hard to brake can save you critical seconds in tricky sections like the Chase and the Forest Elbow. Practicing smooth controlled braking is essential because it is what will keep you on the line and out of the walls. Master your exit speeds. Point 3. With the F4's lower horsepower, your speed out of each corner can make or break your lap. Focus on getting clean exits, especially onto straights like Conrod and Mountain Straight. The more momentum you carry out of each turn, the faster you'll go, and in a tight race, these extra miles per hour can make all the difference. Plan your overtake in advance. Bathurst has few overtaking spots, as we heard earlier, so each one needs to be planned. Avoid driving for last-second passes, as these can easily lead to collisions on such a narrow track. Use the straights to draft and aim for clean, calculated moves rather than aggressive dives that might not pay off. Stay calm and keep your focus is point 5. This might be one of the most important tips for Bathurst. With so many potential hazards and split-second decisions, staying calm under pressure is crucial. Don't let small mistakes ruin your race. Everyone makes them here, and I personally do as well. Staying focused and consistent is often the best way to survive Bathurst. So why do many iRacers come back to the FIA F4 and Bathurst period despite its difficulties? There's There's something truly rewarding about the combination of driver skill, track mastery and pure concentration that this combo requires. Therefore, on Bathurst, it's all about fundamentals. No gimmicks, no overwhelming power, just raw skill. It's a race where your performance is tied directly to the control of your car. This makes an incredible, satisfying experience for drivers who want to improve and challenge themselves. The combination of Bathurst's technical demands and the FIA Force Precise handling creates a unique and unforgettable racing experience. It's a different type of challenge compared to racing GT or higher power cars here. Instead of relying on power, you're focused on precision, which requires a different approach to the track. This being as a way of drawing out the best iRacers, and those who conquer it gain both experience and confidence. So there you have it. That is the wonderful FIA and Bathurst or Mount Panorama combo that has been and was on iRacing last week. 500 IR for myself. There's probably been 23 in each race and probably 2 splits per day. But the racing is so rewarding. If you've never driven the FIA 4 and Bathurst, stick it in the test environment and go and experience it. Set it up on a iRace as well. You won't be disappointed if you're after a new challenge. Next up, the latest iRacing news. In iRacing news, Eduardo Leo scores second ever IndyCar Bookkicker iRacing Pro Series win after leading every lap at Mid-Ohio. For the first time in IndyCar Bookkicker iRacing Pro Series history, there's a repeat winner on the board. Following the 6th race of the inaugural 2024 season, Team Redline's Eduardo Leo found his way back to virtual victory lane, scoring the pole position and leading every lap at the Mid-Ohio Sports Car Course on Thursday night. Leo, the first ever winner of the series in Week 1 at Indianapolis, played the tyre strategies perfectly, winning over his teammate Diogo Pinto by more than 2 seconds by the checkered flag. With the result, Leo moves back up into third in the championship, right in the middle of a Team Redline lockout of the top 5 positions in the points. Leo sits behind Pinto and Gustavo Oriol and ahead of Cooper Webster, the former leader who was unable to race at Mid-Ohio, and Sam Couture in 5th. With 4 races left, the Mid-Ohio win couldn't have come at a better time. But Leo acknowledged that his struggles following his opening round win have put him in a tricky spot with 1 road race remaining on the calendar. It's been a really difficult championship, Leo said post-race. It's been nice bouncing back at the Indianapolis Oval since that was the weakest track for us. So it was nice having a good result and already at that track. We came here expecting to be at the top again, given that it's a road course. It's not going to be easy because this is the only one left. There is only one left after this one. So we have to deal with that and maximise our points in the 3 ovals and see what happens. But yeah, everything went perfect and I'm happy right now because I'm recovered nicely after a bit of a struggle in the last couple of races. The race itself started in chaos with Leo grabbing the early advantages as the rest of the field exploded behind. Coanda Esports' Jordan Caruso started second, but on the start spun the tyres, causing a chain reaction through the entire field. By the end of the first corner, nearly a dozen cars were damaged, a good chunk of those too broken to even continue. Apex Racing's Luke McEwen was the first to hit the errant Caruso, which sent him into a spin into Caruso's teammate Elliot Veyron. In the left lane, Team Redline's Florian Leberge checked up, but Drago Racing's Ricardo Rico didn't, causing damage to both cars. Behind that, Apex Racing Academy's Dan Amour also spun the tyres in the same spot that Caruso did, thankfully avoiding further damage, but ultimately putting him behind the curve immediately. Powerslide Motorsports' Jeff Drake flew in at the last moment and finished off the moving target. That was the damaged McEwen. Well, that sounds a right fiasco. With a broken car, LeBurge couldn't make it through turn 1, sliding into the sandpit as more cars piled in on Coanda Esports' Michael Janey. Missed the initial incident by traversing the front stretch grass, but when rejoining the track in turn 1, got into Drago Racing's Joe Soria as Thomas Simon and Xavi Ross also followed into the pile-up. 6 cars ultimately retired from the start, including Caruso, LeBurge and McEwen. Their title hopes now in limbo with mostly ovals left to go. Things mellowed out after that with Leo in complete control, starting the race on the alternate Red Wall Firestone tyres. The top 5 out of the chaos all choose that same strategy, with the first on the primary Blackwood Firestone sitting 6th, Gustavo Oriol. Coanda Esports' Michael Romanidis escaped the fray in second place and was the first to pit on the alternate first strategy on lap 17. Leo and Pinto didn't blink, staying true to their strategy and pitting on lap 22. The alternate tyres held up enough for the advantage to be minimal for Romanidis on the undercut. In fact, the primary tyres were so much more or less effective at the start of the run than Pinto managed to leap into second on the overcut, pitting with Leo. Meanwhile, Ariel was closing in on the flip strategy, hoping to utilise the alternate tyres to the checkered flag. Coming to 15 laps to go, Ariel utilised his push to pass to get by Romanidis for third, still 5 seconds behind the lead, but closing fast. With 9 laps to go, Ariel had the gap cut to half, now stalking his teammate Pinto for second spot. It nearly unravelled for Ariel, however, as the 7 laps to go, his tyres were cooked. Ariel slid into the first corner, nearly looping it into the beach, but somehow kept the car underneath him. While the tyre advantage lost, Ariel went into preservation mode as Leo and Pinto both began to pull away. Leo, on the same exact tyres as Pinto, maintained the gap through the rest of the race, allowing him to lead every single lap as he took the checkered for the second time in 2024. So, we're going to go through the top 5 and the points in the overall championship so far. In 5th place, Sam Cooter on 151. Cooper Webster, who was sitting on top so far in the championship, slips down to 4th with 159. Eduardo Leo, 165 in P3. Gustavo Ariel in 169 in P2. And leading the championship at the moment with 187 is Diogo Pinto. So, good luck to everybody in the next race. And like it said, there's only ovals left, so it's going to be difficult for the road racing experts. But we'll look at that as the next racing results unfolds. The 2024 IMSA Esports Global Championship pre-qualifying time attacks are now open. Pre-qualifying for the 2024 IMSA Esports Global Championship is officially open for the prospective teams and drivers to attempt to qualify on this year's roster. The official iRacing time attack went live on Monday, October the 21st, 2024 at 1200 GMT stroke UTC, and it will close at 23:59 GMT UTC on October the 28th, 2024. The time attack is set in the Indianapolis Motor Speedway road course. Each class has its own time attack created on the time attack section on the racing UI, and the drivers and teams are allowed to enter multiple time attacks to attempt to qualify across multiple classes. Drivers can also drive any of the eligible cars in the respective classes in order to qualify for the car shootout. This time attack is an open setup event, and the servers have been set to severe qualifying conduct scrutiny. During the time attack, drivers can attempt to set their fastest lap times in order to qualify for the next round of the qualification process, the car shootout, which takes place next week on November the 2nd and 3rd. All prospective teams must also register themselves and their 2 drivers by October the 28th, 2024 at 23:59 GMT. There are limits to how many entries each team is allowed to have. Those questions and further additional details on pre-qualifying for the car shootout and the series can be found at the official series rulebook, as well as the official Discord on the IMSA Esports Global Championship. At the end of the time attack, the fastest eligible team in each class will be ordered by their registered drivers' combined fastest lap times. Will be invited to the aforementioned car shootout, where the full roster for the 2024 IMSA Esports Global Championship will be decided upon from there. Through the year, some teams have already qualified into each class by virtue of winning one of the 4 VCO Grand Slam classified iRacing special events. That is the Daytona 24, the Sebring 12, Watkins Glen 6 Hour and Petit Le Mans. With 4 entries each in each class confirmed: GTP, Commander Esports, Team Redline, Williams Esports and Williams Esports. Let's put that, must be 2 car teams then. GTD, Apex Team Drago Racing, Team Redline. There'll be 12 entries available in the GTP class and 28 entries in the GTD class through the time attack qualifiers. So we'll also keep you up to date with that. Well, that brings us to the end of another podcast. Hope you enjoyed that one. I really have had a good week on iRacing. Racing the FIA F4 round, Bathurst or Mount Panorama. Suggest you do the same, give it a go. You got nothing to lose. Learn the track first, so that's the key. Until next week then, iRacers, happy iRacing, and I'll see you on the track soon.